This may be the cause if you're over 60 and always rearrange your house, but still feel overburdened, worn out, or oddly uncomfortable in your own area. You see, a lot of seniors unintentionally form organizing habits that appear innocuous at first glance. Arranging stacks neatly from one area to another, storing bags and jars, or stacking crates in the garage. It appears to be progress from the outside. On the inside, it subtly erodes vitality, tranquility, and even health. Studies on stress reveal a strong correlation between mental and physical clutter. Even if everything is organized well, having too much stuff might cause anxiety, lower cortisol levels, and worse sleep quality. This is risky for elderly folks in addition to being uncomfortable. Prolonged stress can literally take years off of life, impair the immune system, and hasten aging. This is the unpleasant reality. Life gets heavier the more we arrange things incorrectly. However, there is some positive news. These secret behaviors don't have to hold you back. In addition to restoring order to your house, you can regain your energy, peace of mind, and independence in your golden years by identifying the 9 mistakes that most seniors are unaware they are committing. Greetings from our channel, which is devoted to assisting elders such as yourself in simplifying, clearing out clutter, and creating a home that is secure, peaceful, and joyful. You're not alone if you've ever stood in a neatly arranged room and felt as though the burden had never been lifted. I spend all day tidying, but it never feels done. This never-ending loop isn't your fault, as many older folks tell me. It's the outcome of the habits we were taught, habits that become detrimental as we become older. I'll outline the 9 organizing errors that covertly raise stress levels, squander energy, and even shorten life expectancy in this video. You'll discover why rearranging heaps doesn't eliminate clutter, why putting things off frequently results in regret that isn't fully expressed, and why labeling and purchasing organizing supplies excessively may actually make life more difficult. This is the most crucial aspect. You'll learn simple solutions to break each behavior, so your home finally supports your peace of mind instead of depleting it. Stay with me through to the finish because habit number 9 is the one that most people are surprised by, and changing it can drastically change how you feel at home. Please take a time to like this video before we get started. YouTube is able to suggest it to other elderly people who require this support. Let's get started with the first habit that could be disturbing you. Moving stacks rather than making judgments is one of the most frequent mistakes made by seniors. You are familiar with the pattern. From the dining table, a pile of papers is moved to a drawer, then to a box from the drawer, and finally to the wardrobe from the box. The area appears cleaner on the surface. However, nothing has actually changed. There's a new hiding spot for the clutter. The appearance of progress is produced by this shuffling behavior. The clutter is still there, still using energy, still bothering you every time you pass it, but it fools the brain into believing that I accomplished something worthwhile today. Why do we do this? Decision fatigue is a major factor for many seniors. Choosing whether to keep, donate, or trash out is exhausting, even unpleasant. Consequently, things are scrambled until later. Later, however, rarely arrives. This is the result. Mental clutter is added with each shuffling. You know deep down that there are still unresolved piles. Even while you sleep, your mind continues to track and drag you down. That continuous mental background noise eventually raises stress hormones and diminishes happiness. Reset your approach. Use the one decision rule to end the loop. Make one decision right away, rather than moving an item. Donate, keep, or discard. Making 5 decisions a day, even, adds up to 35 decisions per week in 1820 decisions annually. Just think of how much lighter your house could seem after a year. Tell the truth. Have you ever organized for hours on end and felt as though nothing changed? Tell me in the comments below. This one initially seems innocuous. Keeping cartons, tins, jars, and shopping bags on hand for emergency. Who hasn't been told to squander? Not after all. Many elders were accustomed to saving since they grew up in a time of scarcity. However, what begins as frugal living frequently devolves into excessive clutter. Imagine discovering dozens of yogurt containers piled high when you open a cabinet, or a closet full of plastic bags that are crinkly. Stress is created even when you aren't aware of it. Each time you add another just-in-case item, you are subtly telling your brain, I don't trust the future to provide. The majority of saved containers are really never used. They add a low-grade buzz of guilt, occupy space, and choke out the things you truly need. Someday I should make use of this. The health effects of congested storage spaces include increased fall hazards, difficulty cleaning, and difficulty finding necessities. When elderly people trip over boxes or bags that have been stored, it might lead to a slip that changes their life. Reset your approach. Set a rigorous boundary. Don't keep more than 5 reusable bags and containers. The remainder is recycled. Something has to go once the limit is reached, in order for something fresh to remain. This border offers you serenity and safety. I was informed by a senior that she kept jars for 15 years with the intention of using them to make her own jam. At last, she remarked, I felt like I gained a whole new pantry, and I don't even miss them. Do you have bags or containers on hand in case you need them? How many do you believe you now have? Leave a comment below. It would be wonderful to hear. Labeling initially appears to be the ideal organizing strategy. Color-coded containers, distinct labels, and well-organized categories. But when it goes too far, it starts to cause stress on its own. All of a sudden, there are so many categories that even locating a basic item feels like a riddle. For instance, rather than using a single Christmas container, some seniors make boxes for seasonal lights, ribbons, wrapping paper, and cards. Although the system appears tidy, maintaining it soon becomes too much to handle. The underlying problem is that this tendency towards overlabeling frequently stems from a need for control. Being overly organized can feel safe as we get older, and life becomes more unpredictable. However, in practice, it increases stress and causes stiffness. Putting an item in the wrong bin due to a little error is frustrating when everything has a micro-category. Therefore, the reset technique is to make your system simpler. Aim for broad categories that are simple to remember and uphold rather than 10 smaller categories. For instance, make a single bin marked holiday supplies in place of ribbons, cards, and wrapping. Simple things help your brain relax. There are fewer decisions in simpler systems, and fewer decisions reduce brain stress. For elders, decision fatigue is a serious problem. It depletes vitality, impairs concentration, and even affects memory. You may safeguard your mental and emotional well-being by simplifying your organizing system. Do you find sorting and labeling enjoyable, or is it a draining task? Leave your response in the comments section. I would like to know your thoughts on it. All aisles of bins, racks, and containers promise the dream of a neat, stress-free house when you walk into any large box store. It's alluring, especially when everything is precisely aligned in those glossy pictures. Here's the secret trap, though. You frequently wind up with more clutter the more organizing supplies you purchase. This might be extremely intimidating for elderly. Bins that were supposed to be used eventually fill the garage. The closet is crammed with racks that were intended to free up space, but now make it more difficult to get to the items. The house feels heavier rather than lighter, which is the worst part. This habit feels proactive, which makes it cunning. Purchasing storage gives us a sense of empowerment. However, in practice, storage products frequently allow us to retain items that we no longer use. Now that we have clutter in the bins that contain it, they increase it rather than lessen it. Ask one important inquiry before purchasing an organizing tool. Is it really necessary for me to keep this thing in storage, or should I discard it? There is no need for a container, rack, or shelf if the response is let it go. Purchasing more does not lead to true serenity. It results from possessing fewer things. One former teacher I talked to had a whole wall of storage bins. Although each bin contained papers she never looked at again, she believed they were keeping her organized. After letting go of most of it, she said, "I realized the bins were my guilt, not my solution." Buying too many products also affects finances. Seniors often live on fixed incomes, and every unnecessary purchase adds financial stress. That stress, like clutter, takes a toll on health. Peace of mind comes from simplification, not shopping. Be honest. Have you ever bought a storage bin or rack that's still sitting empty or full of junk? Tell me in the comments. 2 can be useful, but 10 is overwhelming. Many seniors fall into the habit of keeping duplicates of everyday items: scissors, tape, mugs, shoes, even sets of tools. The thinking is, what if I lose one? What if I need an extra someday? But here's the cost. Every duplicate takes up physical space and mental space. Think about your kitchen drawer. Instead of 1 spatula you love, you might have 6. Every time you open the drawer, your brain does micro work. Which one should I use? Why do I keep so many? That hidden decision, fatigue, drains mental energy. The truth is, duplicates rarely get used. Most people gravitate to their favorite and ignore the rest. The extras simply gather dust, reminding you of wasted money and cluttering your home. Choose your favorite and release the rest. Keep one backup if it brings peace of mind, but no more. Ask yourself, if I needed another, could I easily get it within a day? If yes, then keeping 10 extras is unnecessary. A widower once showed me his closet full of shoes, over 40 pairs. Most hadn't been worn in years. When we asked why he kept them, he said, "I might need them." After donating them, he admitted he wore the same 2 pairs every week and felt lighter than I have in 20 years. Extra items crowd your living space and increase tripping hazards. Falls are the leading cause of injury for seniors. Keeping fewer items means a safer, more navigable home. How many duplicates do you think are hiding in your home, especially in the kitchen or closet? Drop your guess in the comments. This one touches the heart. As we age, memories become treasures. Photographs, keepsakes, gifts from children and grandchildren, souvenirs from travels. But here's where it goes wrong. When every surface becomes covered with sentimental items, the meaning gets lost. Instead of honoring the memories, we bury them in clutter. For many seniors, sentimental clutter creates guilt. You might wonder, if I put this away, does that mean I don't love the memory? Or worse, if I let go, am I erasing part of my life? That fear leads to keeping everything out in the open until the home feels like a storage unit of memories instead of a peaceful retreat. The result? Overwhelm. Dusting becomes harder. Finding space becomes impossible. And instead of joy, the items spark stress. A constant visual reminder of too much weighs on the mind and heart. Honor the few, store the rest. Choose a small number of keepsakes to display. Perhaps 1 shelf of photographs or 1 framed memory from each milestone. Then create a memory box or album for the rest. This way the items are preserved, but your home remains peaceful. A grandmother once showed me her living room with dozens of framed photos on every wall. She confessed that instead of feeling happy, she often felt overwhelmed, like the room was watching her. After choosing her favorites for display and storing the others in albums, she said, "Now I can truly enjoy the memories instead of drowning in them." A surplus of sentimental clutter can worsen feelings of sorrow or regret. Displaying fewer items allows the brain to focus on joy, not overwhelm. And physically, fewer items to dust or move reduces risk of strain or injury. Do you struggle with sentimental items? Feeling like letting go means letting go of memories? Share your thoughts in the comments. For many seniors, Organizing becomes more than tidying. It becomes a way to prove independence. You tell yourself, I can still handle this. I don't need to bother anyone. So, you'll lift heavy boxes, climb ladders to reach high shelves, or spend hours bending and stretching to rearrange closets. The danger? While the desire for independence is natural, using organization as a substitute for asking for help can be risky. Falls, strains, and accidents are far more common when seniors attempt tasks that should be shared. One wrong move on a step stool can lead to months of recovery or worse. The emotional cost is just as high. Hiding the need for help often leads to frustration, fatigue, and isolation. Instead of enjoying the peace that organizing should bring, it becomes another source of stress and even resentment. Redefine independence. Independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to accept support so you can live longer, healthier, and happier. Ask family, friends, or community helpers to assist with heavy lifting or large reorganizing tasks. Save your energy for the decisions only you can make. A retired nurse once told me she refused to ask her son for help clearing the garage. She wanted to prove she could still do it. After falling while lifting a heavy box, she finally asked for his help. Together, they cleared half the garage in one afternoon. She said, I realized independence is not about doing everything myself. It's about having a good enough life to enjoy. Seniors who seek assistance benefit from stronger social ties, in addition to staying safer. As detrimental to health as smoking or obesity, sharing chores with loved ones strengthens bonds and lessens loneliness. Do you find it difficult to ask for assistance with heavy or organizing tasks? Leave a remark with a yes or no. I'd want to hear your viewpoint. This is a harsh reality. Putting clutter out of sight doesn't make it go away. It just expands and conceals. For many elderly people, the basement, attic, or garage ends up being a waiting area for clutter. With the intention of sorting them later, boxes pile up. Just in case, furniture is stored. Eventually, the areas fill up to the point that they are unusable. Although being out of sight may seem like being out of mind, the stress nevertheless persists. Your brain silently keeps track of the clutter, and you are aware that it's there. Even worse, concealed clutter poses a risk to public safety. Boxes that are stacked may topple. Overcrowded environments raise the risk of fire, and dusty spaces exacerbate respiratory problems. Hidden storage spaces should be prioritized above landfills. Establish a rule. Anything that is stored needs to have a clearly marked expiration date. For instance, I'll hold onto this box for 3 months. It's gone if I don't use it. This straightforward border keeps areas secure and discourages accumulation. One widower said that his cellar had been transformed into his future chamber. He would sort the books one day. He would eventually fix the old furniture, but as the years went by, the basement started to cause him guilt. Finally removing it, he remarked, I feel like I don't have a shadow hanging over me for the first time in years. Dust-filled storage spaces can exacerbate symptoms for elderly people with respiratory conditions like COPD or asthma. In addition to reducing the mental burden, clearing them enhances physical safety and air quality. Would clutter make it difficult for you to move freely through your basement, attic, or garage if I asked you right now? Leave a comment with your truthful response. The largest and most draining trap is this one: sorting, stacking, and folding things you don't really need incessantly. It feels secure. Although it seems like progress, it's just a means of delaying the more difficult decision. Letting go. Clutter remains in your life when you reorganize. It just takes on a different appearance. For example, you can pack the same clothes into a new bin, move the same books to a different shelf, or move the same papers into a separate drawer. However, the weight still exists in the end. To make matters worse, the cycle never stops. This is the reality. Rearranging the same things repeatedly does not lead to peace. It results from identifying and letting go of things that no longer benefit you. You gain more than just physical space when you get rid of things. It's emotional and mental liberty. Use the one in, one out principle. You have to depart if something new comes into your house. More crucially, plan for frequent release dates. Pick 5 items you no longer need and discard them once a month. Begin modestly, gain momentum, and observe how your house and your thoughts improve. One man informed me that he reorganized his office for hours each week. Papers were transferred between binders. Pens were arranged in various cups. However, he never really cut down on his possessions. After finally shredding outdated papers and donating unused supplies, he said, "I can breathe again. My desk isn't just tidy." Reorganizing without decluttering prolongs stress. It keeps the brain in a constant state of low-grade anxiety, which raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and accelerates aging. Releasing clutter, by contrast, reduces stress and protects both mental and physical health. Have you ever caught yourself reorganizing the same pile of stuff again and again? Be brave. Type yes if that's you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You walk into your living room and for the first time in years, the space feels light. There are no piles staring back at you. No bins stacked in corners. No silent guilt tucked away in the garage or basement. Just calm, just freedom. The air feels fresher because you're not carrying the invisible weight of too much stuff. Your shelves hold only the things that matter most. Perhaps a favorite photo of family, a cherished book, or a handmade quilt that warms your heart every time you see it. Every item in your home has a place and a purpose, and nothing demands energy you don't want to give. This isn't just about a tidy house. It's about reclaiming your health, your peace of mind, and your independence. Research shows that reducing clutter lowers cortisol levels, improves sleep quality, and even reduces fall risks for seniors. That means more energy to enjoy walks, more focus to read or pursue hobbies, and more time to spend with loved ones without the constant distraction of unfinished projects hanging over you. It also means emotional freedom. Instead of feeling trapped by someday projects, you live in the present. Instead of drowning in sentimental clutter, you can smile at the few chosen treasures that truly warm your heart. Instead of avoiding your garage, attic, or basement, you can step inside, knowing there's nothing hiding there to weigh you down. And perhaps most importantly, you'll feel proud. Proud that you took control. Proud that you reset your habits. And proud that your home reflects the peace you've earned. Because this isn't about losing years to stress. It's about adding years filled with energy, calm, and joy. If you could wave a magic wand and instantly free one space in your home from clutter, which would it be? The living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, or the garage? Type your answer below. Now, here's your invitation. Don't just let this video be inspiring. Let it be the beginning of your reset. Start today with one small decision. Release one duplicate. Recycle one empty container. Clear one pile instead of moving it. Every small step is a victory, and each one adds up to years of stress lifted from your shoulder. If this video opened your eyes to habits you didn't realize were draining your energy, do me a favor. Hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube to share this message with more seniors who need this encouragement. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel. This is your community, your space to learn how to simplify, declutter, and live with confidence in your golden years. And don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Share this video with a friend, a sibling, or even your children. Sometimes the kindest gift you can give is the encouragement to let go of what no longer serves.